Nostalgia X.
You're listening to the Nostalgia X podcast with your host, DJ Doom and J-Bat.
So J-Bat, guys, is worried about something I alluded to before the episode. You want to know what that is about?
I am a little worried. I'm not saying I'm shaking, but I'm just a little worried because I don't want to know what this is coming to.
If you want to know a little bit more of why he's worried, check out the special videos we got for Patreon supporters, certain tiers, patreon.com/NSX podcast. Show us some love and support. It helps us stay around and bring you more content. But we have a fun episode. I'll go ahead and say it. I mean, we're doubling up this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm not talking about what they're worried about. They're gonna have to check the Patreon out for that, or what you worry about. But we're doubling up this week, just because we love y'all and we got some plans, vacation plans. Both of us got stuff coming up, and we want to make sure we stick to our one a week promise to you guys. So we're pulling double duty and knocking out another episode, so that way we can keep y'all entertained and continue this nostalgia ride for y'all and this fun that y'all are joining us for. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Nostalgia X podcast.
Welcome, newcomers, baby.
Oh yeah, I like it. We love y'all. Check us out, by the way, if you're new. We have Twitter, Instagram, and a Patreon. And we also have a website. Our website is teamnostalgiax.com. It is a team that we're starting. We play a game called Hero Clicks. And we also have team gear and a lot of other ideas. Obviously, a lot of other projects, rather. This podcast is just one of them. Our Twitter is at NSX Podcast, NSX Podcast. Our Instagram is nostalgiax_podcast. And as I mentioned, our Patreon is at patreon.com/NSX podcast. I worked really hard on putting that page together. We got a nice 80s vibe, nostalgic vibe on that Patreon. Check it out. Even if you're not into donating, you're more just a listener, check it out. I think you'll like just the layout. Took a lot of time out of my day.
If you want to get a lot of exclusive stuff, Patreon, where is that, man?
Yeah, check it out.
I mean, even if you donate $1, we will shout you out on our podcast. I mean, we'll even follow you.
Absolutely.
If you have a Twitter or an Instagram, we will follow you.
Yeah, show us some love. Let us know you listen, and we'll definitely follow you back. We want to show all of our listeners love. Yep. I don't care what part you're from. We currently have some listeners all around the world. Germany. Where else did we have?
Honduras, was it?
Honduras. I think Tunisia, Istanbul. So, yeah, we got listeners from all over the place, and we love that. As J-Bats mentioned in the past, don't stay in the shadows. Show us some love. And, we definitely shout you out for any support y'all can give us at Patreon. But moving forward, we got a lot of great stuff to talk to y'all about. We've had a fun-filled day. We had the little ones with us, and they are asleep somewhere, most likely. Or
knocked out.
Yeah, just worn out. We're in Alabama. That's where we're based out of in the South. You may not be able to tell because we don't have those strong dialects, or that Southern drawl. But we can definitely imitate the hell out of it. But, nothing wrong with that. Anyways, I feel bad for saying that. I love the state, okay? Don't take it wrong. But anyways.
He loves the state, but he doesn't love one thing in this state.
Oh, we're not going to get into that. We'll save that for some time.
That's why I haven't said it.
That almost deserves its own episode. But then we'll lose like half of our listeners. So
yeah, but I don't want that to happen. Right. That's why I never brought that up.
Yeah, let's move forward, okay? Because then people are going to get curious. But anyways, we've had a lot of fun today. We are, to some extent, worn out too. But like I said, we love what we do here, so that's not going to keep us from, keeping this going. But one of the subjects I want to talk about today is bandwagon fans. I think that would be our biggest topic for the week. And one reason I want to get into this, we spent a lot of time with family today. Me and Jay bet our family. And so we were at on my side of the family's neck of the woods. My aunt was turning the big 50 today, so we got together. We got some family visiting from Puerto Rico, an uncle that I hadn't seen in over a decade, and we've been having a lot of fun with all the family there. We got nice get-togethers. We played outside in the nice, summery type weather.
95 degrees.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that hot, but Jesus. Let's just say there were a lot of water bottles, a lot of Nestle Pure Life?
I think so.
Nestle Pure Life that was drank today.
Or the off-brand. Whatever it was
Nestle
water.
Pure Life because we're a little bougie, but a lot of
bougie.
that, yeah, just a little bit. But we had a lot of fun. Played little cornhole. If you're not familiar with cornhole, look it up. Hopefully it doesn't lead you to any inappropriate websites, but cornhole is a little kind of beanbag game.
Don't blame us if we told you. Don't blame us.
It's a little beanbag game. Just search cornhole on Google. Don't go to cornhole.com because I have no idea where that's going to take you. It just doesn't sound like something.
Have you been to that website?
I have not, and I don't want to know what's on there either.
You must know that website pretty well.
No, it's not. I don't want. No. But if y'all go to that website, and I have no idea what's there, but if you go to that website and just don't go to that website.
If y'all see his face right now after I brought that up, he's in shock. So just to let y'all know, okay.
But one of the main subjects we're going to talk about today is bandwagon fans. And obviously we spent some time with family today. Most of my family is Puerto Rican. And J-Bat's part of the family, Filipino. So
Pinoy represent, baby. Let's go.
And we got some Japanese in there too, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. So very prideful family. That's how we are. We were born and raised around that. So with that being said, a lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of passionate when we get in discussions, not arguments, discussions. It gets really loud.
It gets heated.
My girlfriend's Caucasian. She don't understand it. There were a few heated discussions today. Me and my brother, and let's just say she started freaking out like an episode of Jerry Springer. She thought that me and my brother were about to get in a fight. Not J-Bat, other brother. So long story short, she's trying to intervene, and I'm like, it's not even that serious. But we had a lot of fun, and the reason we got into a heated discussion, one of the things is sports. We're very passionate about sports, and obviously the NBA finals are going on. And I don't want to turn this into a whole sports podcast, but I will say this. When it comes to bandwagoning, there's bandwagons for everything. We're obviously big collectors. We're obviously big into comics. We also are big into sports. But with bandwagons, obviously, the Cavaliers are playing the Warriors right now. And I would say probably about 75%, if not higher, of the Warriors or Cleveland fan base are bandwagon fans. I am actually a Knicks fan, but I love LeBron. I love, what he brings to the sport. I think he's a great guy. If you look into what he's done, how many kids he's helped get into college, if you look at his track record, with the exception of the way he announced he was going to Miami when he left Cleveland the first time.
Oh, that was nasty, dude.
That's really the only blemish. And to be honest, he did it to raise money for his charity. All the donations, to my knowledge, went to his charity. So that helps kids go to college from his hometown. So that makes more sense of why he did it, but it was still a messed up way to kind of do that.
Yeah, it was.
But that's still, when that's the worst thing you can say about somebody, that they announced they were going to another team in the most Hollywood way possible, that's not that bad. It's like you're nitpicking at that point.
It's a good way how you said a Hollywood way. I mean,
yeah.
Just think about, I remember that interview that he said he was going to leave Cleveland.
I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see all these videos of people burning his jersey or burning his stand-up.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
so
his...
You
guys know what I mean.
Yeah. The little cardboard cutouts of them and stuff like that, which is pretty messed up, including the owner of the Cavs, the Cleveland Cavs, which was pretty messed up, Dan Gilbert. But like I said, this isn't a sport podcast, so we won't go down that road. But in the subject of bandwagoning, there is a lot, and there's obviously the finals going on. There's a lot of that. And we won't even go down who we're rooting for. Like I said, I'm a LeBron fan, so you can at least make an assumption who who I'm going for in the finals there. But I want to just talk about bandwagoning because it pertains to comics, everything, movies. I feel that it's getting really bad with things like Star Wars, for example. The Star Wars fan base as a whole is known to be a difficult one. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of why Harrison Ford didn't want to have any other part of it, and many other actors that maybe did it in the past or have done it recently. I feel that perhaps some of the actors from the Solo movie may be like, hey, one and done. They don't want to have any other part in the franchise, which some of the characters may not even have another shot at because they did a character in, this. Like Woody Harrelson probably can't play any other characters because he's already won. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Unless he's like one with a mask on or something that, is technically an alien species. That's probably it. And that's fine. I think he did fantastic in the movie as, his character. But with bandwagon fans, they can make or break stuff. Marvel, obviously, I think has been doing so great with all their movies. They're all being hits. At a minimum, most movies from Marvel are rated on like a 7 out of 10 on average. So they're doing so darn well that they really don't have to stress about what fans are saying, because they're at a level now where they're just like churning anything out, guaranteed success. The fans eat it up. If there's slightly negative reviews, they're never going to be that bad to where they're hurting in the box office. So they're just churning them out. That's not to say they might not have a dud somewhere in there. Ant-Man looks good, but I still don't know how that one's going to be. I'm a big fan of Paul Rudd, so I'm thinking the movie's going to be witty, kind of like Ragnarok.
I'm glad you said that, because I remember when I heard Paul Rudd was going to be casted as Ant-Man, and I was like, really? How can he play a serious role when he's a comedian?
Right. He's a comedic actor.
I was like, I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah.
I watched it.
And
he killed it.
Yeah.
He killed it.
Right. He did a fantastic job.
It was great.
And I feel that movies like Ant-Man, movies like Ragnarok would have never happened had Marvel not had the track record that they had at this point. Because those movies, some people hate them because they weren't serious movies. Mm-hmm. But they're a great combination of serious and witty, and that's what the fans love to see. They want to have fun when they go to the movies.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a big part of what we do in this podcast. We want you to remember the fun times. We want you to have fun with us. The time you're taking out to listen to us, we appreciate it. And we are all about that. So I think with going back to the subject of bandwagoners, we got to be careful as a fan base of any franchise. Like, speaking of franchise, Spawn is getting a reboot with Jamie Foxx. That was just announced. Jamie Foxx, let's be honest, he's known for being a comedian. That's how he made his claim to fame, is being comedic. He's very creative. He can sing. It's one of my favorite stand-up skits of him. He's on a piano, and he's reimagining, I guess is the best way to put it, or remixing old sitcom songs. Mm-hmm. He sings the Brady Bunch, and it was awesome how he did it. I wish I could sing. I'd recreate it right now, but I'm not going to damage anyone's eardrums with that. But
I'm glad he said it, not me. Let's just put it that way.
Beat you to the punch there. But anyway, husky. Anyway. But
don't worry, we're gonna.
If you haven't seen the clip of Jamie Foxx singing the Brady Bunch, YouTube it, check it out. Maybe we'll link it or something. But it's awesome. But he's gonna be Spawn, and I feel like they may put a comedic spin on it. Not a lot, because I think Spawn is a much more serious character than most of the Marvel stuff. So I think Todd's overseeing that.
Well,
I think they'll have a little fun with it.
If you look at the first one, now it's going to be the first one that they done of Spawn.
Right.
The actor was Michael Jai White,
which I love.
Very good actor, martial artist, expert. And then who was the clown? Do you know who the clown was, DJ?
John Leguizamo.
There you go. Now,
Puerto Rican.
Yes.
New Yorker.
Yeah. He played a very good job as the clown.
Mm-hmm. He did fantastic.
Yes. Now, how are they going to do that in the remake of it.
What if they get John Leguizamo again?
I wouldn't mind it at all.
I think he did fantastic.
He did fantastic.
He was like the best. They didn't. There were a lot of problems with the movie, but I think part of it is the time it came out. Mm-hmm. The special effects just wasn't there.
And also, if they bring him onto it, they need to have him longer if they're going to do more movies, because in the first one, if you realize, he was killed automatically.
Yeah.
No.
Come on. He's too important of a character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of Todd McFarlane fans, I'm not saying Spawn fans, I'm saying Todd McFarlane fans, they're going to possibly agree or disagree with me. And they're going to be like, he does make a point, because in the comics, he lasted longer than what the movie
absolutely.
was.
He's one of the main characters. So what are your thoughts? Like, how bad would you love to see John Leguizamo reprise the role? Like, they got a new actor. Not that Michael J. White couldn't do it again, but let's start off new, because this is a reboot. But sort of like, I don't want to put him on Heath Ledger type levels, but like, he played the role perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's how the character was.
Right.
And him being
a sinister guy.
Exactly. Him being that short in that costume, he had to literally be on his knees just to run around and do the things he did. And, I mean, if they presented him that role again, I'm pretty sure he'll probably say yes, but minus all the nasty stuff he had to do in the first one.
Yeah.
I don't want to give anybody mental pictures on it, but one scene when he actually met Spawn, when he was created, it was, let's just put it this way, close to a dumpster. That's it.
Right.
We're going to leave it like that.
Right. So maybe they clean it up a little bit so it's a little more audience friendly, but there's a lot of things, demons, etc., hell, that comes into that character, a la kind of Ghost Rider, some of his origins.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to include some of that, because a lot of people, I would say, in the age group that would go see this movie aren't familiar with the character.
No.
So we're going to get a lot of backstory, origin story, what have you. But I think that would be one of the greatest things they can do. I love Jamie Foxx.
Oh, Jamie Foxx.
I think that's
excellent.
a good way to go. And it doesn't stray far from Michael J. White, other than his delivery for comedy. Michael J. White is not that type of guy. Whereas Jamie Foxx, he can do action. He's done many action movies, and he can obviously do comedy as well as everything in between. I doubt we're going to see Spawn break into song, but if he does, he's going to sound damn good.
The only thing I would probably remember of him singing is him with Kanye the first time he got introduced to
Gold
being
Digger.
singing. Yeah.
Oh, and he did, before that, he did, can't think of the song right now, but it was like Kanye's first big hit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I found out that was Jamie Foxx, I was like, what? He could sing?
Well,
and
speaking
go back
of remakes,
and look, and he's been singing for years.
Speaking of remakes, they're doing the Hellboy remake.
Right. And
I
like where they're going so far.
Yeah.
Using the actor that plays Hopper on Stranger Things. He's gotten in great shape for the role, which shows that how seriously dedicated he is. And there's a lot of great things coming for us. I mean, we were talking in our last episode about how there's so much goodness in the movie theaters that I think that's part of what hurt Solo. Mm-hmm. And I think I don't know if I mentioned this last episode, but I think something else that hurt Solo is the fact that people are more open to see the episode movies than just a one-off story.
Right.
I
agree. I mean, people don't want to see just a one character movie.
Right.
Rather than
even though there were more characters, but it's called Solo.
Yeah.
So that's what you expect. Just a movie about Solo. And it was more than that, but the way it was marketed, we were expecting to see Lando in there. But
well, how else?
This
Holland
is like,
actually met him.
Right. This is like there's some small movies that Donald Glover's been in, but this was like, I mean, it's not called Lando, obviously, but he was all over the trailer. So it was sort of like I want to see Solo, I want to see some backstory on Lando as well. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm coming to the movie as a Star Wars fan. But ultimately it was called Solo, so we knew what we were walking into to some extent. But back to Bandwagon fans. So I feel that they help the most steer things in certain directions. So obviously, when going back to sports real quick for this analogy, but when LeBron flipped to Miami suddenly had a ton of fans.
That's
when
true.
When he went back to Cleveland, Miami lost a lot of fans.
Yep.
And Cleveland was back full force, all seats sold out. So they helped dictate a lot. When LeBron went to Miami and he took all the fans with him, not all of them, but a boatload of the NBA, quote unquote, fans, they just should call themselves NBA fans. They shouldn't call themselves a fan of this, fan of that. Right. They should just pull a Drake and have like every jersey in the NBA for every team. Show up to every game randomly. Miami, when they got LeBron, started popping out all these jerseys. That just shows how bandwagon fans can make things happen, put things into motion. So Miami Heat went from like having maybe 3 jerseys that they used throughout the season to about 8 to 10. They had all kinds of different colors, all kinds of different designs because the bandwagon fans came, and that's where the money is. So same thing in movies. If Marvel keeps doing what they're doing, churning out more and more hits, the bandwagon fans are going to continue to be there. And they're in Marvel's corner right now versus DC, and I think that's part of why DC is struggling. You also got the social media trolls that are like, for instance, when Suicide Squad came out, we have Rotten Tomatoes as well as other movie reviewers saying, it's not that good. Then that immediately makes the social media trolls like, well, I'm not watching this, or they go into the movie expecting it to suck.
Yep.
And it just spirals from there. I'm not saying Suicide Squad was a good movie by any means.
They're making a second one.
You're right. But the bandwagoners they play a big role. One great example from that, with Rotten Tomatoes in mind, Get Out was rated at 100% for a good amount of time while it was in theaters. Then one reviewer went in, and he wasn't one of the original reviewers. So it'd be a little different if, he got in there and reviewed it at a time where Get Out was still in question. There was a good amount of time where, it's a horror movie to some extent, like it's horror comedy, like people didn't know what it was, new director, and they're just like, it's a horror movie, and, some of those are not good, let's be real, and some of them are good. Lately, we've been getting a lot of hits, so Get Out being one of them. But anyway, Get Out was 100 for the longest time on Rotten Tomatoes, and one reviewer went in and messed it up. And it's a 99 now. It's still, I think, historically, it's in now. I think there's a certain amount of time where reviews are shut off, and then that is what the score is forever. So it's a 99, and mainly because one person went in there and I said whatever they said. I didn't even read his review.
It's the sad thing is like one person can mess up everything.
Yeah, and I think that's like reverse bandwagon. Like he was like, I don't want to be on the bandwagon. I'm trying to be known as the guy who didn't bandwagon this movie. And I didn't like it. So, boom, negative review, So, they can definitely help dictate things. So, people get on this hype train. I'm a former sneaker collector. We like to call them Hypebeasts. They don't just exist in the sneakerhead culture. They exist in everyday life. Something big, trends come out when we were growing up. Everything from Tamagotchis to... what else? I mean, anything like a recent one, fidget spinners. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, that was a big hit one time.
These little fads come out, and then the hype beasts hype it up, and they get all over it. Marvel is something that's super hyped right now, whereas DC is not as hyped. So it gets to that point, and it immediately affects anything DC makes now. It's like they're under this microscope of Marvel does it better. And I'm not agreeing with that wholeheartedly. DC does have some great stuff, but they got to step it up. And since Marvel's been killing it for years, they're in different leagues right now when it comes to movies at the box office. That's not to say DC can't kill it, because they made Wonder Woman recently, and it was a fantastic movie.
And they're making a second one.
Right. But the biggest thing I think DC needs to work on is just find that consistent team, and then see what the fans want, because you get the fans in your corner, and then it's all going to start rolling from there. But that's the biggest thing. Anything you want to add on the subject of bandwagoners, J-Bet?
I mean, if you want movie-wise or just in general.
I'll say hit on the DC. I know DC is one of your passions, so like how have bandwagon fans and Hypebeasts hurt DC as of late?
I mean, if you look at it, a lot of, like, as in DC, you had Action Comics 1000. When that came out, they had so many variants, and, you know, I remember seeing one guy, or hearing one guy at the comic book store saying, you know, I'm not a big Superman fan, but I wanted to get all these comics, and he got every single Action 1000. And I asked him, I was like, "What are you gonna do with it?" He goes, "Well, I'm gonna sell them." I'm like, "Why you do it?" He goes, "I don't know. I like DC, but
because it's hyped up."
Yeah, and I'm like, "Why do you do that?" Because, you know, there's other fans of this character are looking for that specific comic because they like the artist. Like me, I love Jim Lee. Jim Lee, great DC artist. Alex Ross, George Perez, Neil Adams. I got introduced with those artists by my uncle. And, you know, I have a great passion for these artists. But hearing about, you know, other people saying, "Oh, I don't like this character, but I want to get this comic because I know it's going to rack in a lot of money."
Right.
But as in for a reader and a collector, they need that for their set. And they're looking for that specific artist, and they're like, "Well, what the heck do I do?"
Right.
The only thing they can do
people
is
that don't truly care, don't have a passion for it, or buying it up.
Right. And I hate it. I hate it. Like in Funko Pops. Oh my gosh. You have a lot of bandwagoners. I mean, you got a lot of bandwagoners in Funko Pop, you know, region. Because
and that's you know, the hype beast. Real problem when it comes to sneakers. There's resellers. The hype beast will dictate what sneakers are going to go up in value. The resellers go out and buy them in bulk, flip them, and then now suddenly, you know, a shoe that retailed for, I don't know, $149 is selling for $349 and up. Mm-hmm. And the resellers are messing it up because they'll buy them all out, and within minutes of it dropping, sometimes within seconds. People that are really passionate about a Jordan or a Nike, Adidas, whatever, and they're, you know, they know all about the shoe, they know about the accomplishments a player made, or the designers, how much hard work they put in to make this happen, and they don't ever get a chance to get the shoe.
No. Like for me, there's certain Funko Pops that I wanted to get that came out. I knew when it was going to get released. I knew what store it was going to come out on. And I go to the store, and they're gone. And then I look on the website, same city and everything else. Person bought all of them on the shelf.
Yeah.
I mean,
big problem in a lot of things.
Big problem. Because you're like, you spend all that, but yet you want to flip them and do it this way.
Right.
That's not the way to do it.
Like, one thing is like, hey, I want to make more money so I can buy more of the stuff I collect. But there are a lot of people in different things, whether it's shoes, like I used to collect in the past, Funko Pops, like we collect, things like that. But if you're going about it the wrong way, like, oh, I know this Batman one that I hate Batman is going to sell for 5 times its value, so I'm going to buy all of these. I don't care if other people wanted them here locally. Mm-hmm. I'm going to buy all of them, and then I'm going to flip them. You know, like some may say, oh, that's smart. I mean, but you're not thinking about the community. No. And you got to think about that. You have to have that in mind, because let's say you're the only one that's able to get the pops you want locally. No one else can. Mm-hmm. How are you going to guarantee that that product is going to continue to come to your area if you're the only one that's able to get what you want out of it.
Right.
It's not a good move.
I mean, I hate seeing, people coming in and they get the Funko Pops, but you see them, they have multiple of the same one. Like, for me, if I got the multiple of the same one, I'm doing it for a person that wants it. Because I know they're looking for it, and I'll help them out. I mean, a lot of people will say this about me. DJ Doom will say this about me. I'm a very nice guy. Mm-hmm. But if you step on my toes the wrong way, it gets really ugly.
It's just, if you're a collector, it's good to be thoughtful. You know what I'm saying? Like, say you go to a store and something that you're really into, there's 3 of. Why not just buy 2 of them and leave one for someone? Mm-hmm. That may make their day, their month, their year.
Don't buy one and then you see the last one on the shelf and smash that box.
Oh, that's real messed up.
I've caught a couple people doing that in stores, and I've confronted them about that, and it's messed up.
That is really messed up.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that's big, guys, if you aren't collectors of things like figures like that, if the box is messed up, that really, for a collector, is almost unpurchasable.
It diminishes the value of it.
Diminishes the value, doesn't look good on the shelf at that point, and it just sucks. So, like, if you ever catch somebody doing that, definitely report them, because that's messed up. While it's still on the shelf and not purchased, technically it's store product, but if it's crushed, for someone that collects them, they basically might as well write it off. They might as well have stole it or, had it sent back, because it's almost unpurchasable at that point. So really messed up. We'll move on from there, and we'll go into our other topic. So being that we were talking about movies, I want to talk about what we would like to see next from the Star Wars and Marvel franchise, as well as DC. So we'll start with Star Wars, and then I'll start and jump in, J-Bet, at any point. But for Star Wars, being that Solo didn't do, it's still not doing great. I mean, it's still in theaters, but it's looking like it may pick up a little bit, but still not going to get where Disney would have loved it to get, money-wise. I think the movie, solid 7 out of 10. I think we said that in the last podcast. That's what I would review it. I think you said 10 out of 10.
That's a 9.
Okay, 9 out of 10. And no disrespect to anybody that's watched it and thinks it's a 9 or a 10. I don't think the movie was bad by any means. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Been into it since my early childhood. But it did have some more opportunity. They had, more room to grow there. They could have done a few different things. But as a whole, the movie's great. I think if you're a Star Wars fan or not, it's the movie to watch right now.
Get on that bandwagon.
But I think, right, hype it up. Help it get some more sales. Watch it twice if you've already seen it.
Yeah.
For Star Wars, what I would love for them to do next, and I think they can learn from Marvel here, as well as DC, find a service like Netflix, put some shows out. I think they have a lot of opportunity with Star Wars. I'm talking live action here for Star Wars. They're doing the animated stuff. Star Wars, if you're listening, Disney, if you're listening, I would love to, I think J-Bat will co-sign on this, make a show about Empire, a la, aka use this as a source material, the last Battlefront game, the main campaign. Mm-hmm. You let us see things from the Imperial side, post Return of the Jedi, what it looked like. Everything seems like it's over for the Empire. It's crushed. How do they bounce back? I want to see stories like that.
That would be pretty cool.
I want to see stuff like that. And it being a show versus a movie, it's realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got a lot of those cartoons, but it's not like...
Yeah, I want to see live action.
Yeah, the live action TV shows would be...
Absolutely.
That'd be pretty cool.
Marvel killed it with Jessica Jones, characters that some people didn't even know were part of, Alias. That's Jessica Jones, y'all, if y'all didn't know that. So Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Punisher, Iron Fist. I know that one was... but all of them, for the most part, made them the money that they wanted to, if not more. and have been very successful, critically acclaimed. So people want to watch it. People want more TV. And Star Wars guaranteed viewers. Mm-hmm. Just the word Star Wars, guaranteed viewers. So why not take a few more risks and put a show out? Disney's got a streaming service that they're working on. I think it's supposed to be out next year.
Yeah, they said the summer of next year.
Why not put a Star Wars series on there?
That'd be cool.
Or two. So yeah, I mean, they put it on the streaming service. Great way to kick off the Disney streaming service with some new Star Wars content. That'll automatically make me want to sign up for it. Possibly even leave Netflix if they take their Marvel franchises with them.
Oh, I'm getting it anyway, no matter what. I like Disney. I'm a Disney fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge Disney fan too. My thing is, like, I'm signed up to so many things right now. It's just like, bro, before you know it, you're paying over $100 something for TV. Like it can get crazy really quick. So, but that's what I would like to see next from Star Wars. I think that they shouldn't take Solo and say, okay, Obi-Wan and Boba Fett can now no longer happen, and then be negative about it. It's okay to make an occasional movie for the fans, to where if it flops from a financial standpoint, you take a little hit, because 9 out of 10 movies you pop out are huge wins. It's okay to do something for the fans. I think that's what Spawn's doing, or Todd's doing for Spawn. I feel that, yeah, he does want to have a box office smash hit, but the reason he's bringing it back, despite the original one not doing great, is because he loves his fans. He wants to treat them. Do you not? Would you not agree there?
I agree. I mean, if you look at it, back then, graphics weren't really that.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
Good.
Special effects weren't that great, so that movie required quite a bit. And when you really factor in what they were able to do, you know they spent a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
For one, and they were using some of the most cutting edge effects they could at its time. And now, 2018, we'll say 2019, because I don't know when they're going to start the movie. They're still casting people. Mm-hmm. So probably 2019 is where they aim to start, or late 2018. But they're going to have... They're light years ahead in terms of technology. So I'm super excited. I'm going to fanboy hard. I'm going to see this movie multiple times. Despite what it gets rated, I don't care if this movie gets rated a 2 out of 10. I'm going to see it at least twice in theaters, because I want to show my appreciation for it being brought back to theaters for a reboot. Because even though the first movie wasn't great, I love the character. And I owned the movie. I watched it multiple times. It was one of the most bootlegged movies ever. Bootlegging movies was big back then when this was in theaters.
I remember meeting the actor that played Spawn, Michael J. White.
You actually
at
met
a convention?
Him?
Yeah, I was at a convention. And,
I'm a big fan.
And I actually had the movie with me, because I was like, I kind of want to meet him. And he was a really, really nice guy. And I turn around and there's a guy dressed up as Spawn from head to toe. All latex. He did everything. And Michael J. White signed his costume. And it was really, really cool. I actually had a picture with the guy that did the costume. But I mean, and I do have a picture with Michael J. White as well. And it was pretty cool. And, just going back to Spawn and the remake of it, I have a feeling they might do pretty well.
I think it can. I mean, I think the story is fantastic. So it was just too ahead of its time back then.
Yeah.
To be brought in live action and done right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited. And hopefully whoever they do cast as the villains do a fantastic job. And it just ends up being an epic must-see movie.
Yep.
I'm going to support it either way, but I'm hoping it's done right. And so far, the casting, Jamie Foxx, I think both of us give it a thumbs up. So we like the direction that's going. As far as getting back on topic, DC, I think keep doing what they're doing as far as what they did with Wonder Woman. Justice League, some people like it, some people don't. For me, it fell a little flat. I like some of the characters. I like Cyborg. I don't like the Flash, unfortunately. I didn't like the guy casted as him. Superman, he's okay. And
Wait, you didn't like his mustache he had?
yeah, just look up online if you don't know what J-Bass talking about. They had to CG out goatee or something.
Well, I think the reason why.
Oh, I know why.
There's two reasons. One, he really liked it and he didn't want to cut it. And two, I think he was filming another movie while he was doing that.
He was filming another movie, and they had to spend all this money just to CG out. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on, man. But it is what it is. I mean, overall, the movie wasn't bad. I think the biggest thing that hurt it with superhero and movies kind of in that genre, you got to have a good balance. With Justice League, they obviously have a big crew of heroes. The villain, for starters, was CG. Mm-hmm. And DC has not been doing CG very well lately. I mean, it's CG. You can only do so much with it to make it look real. And when your main villain is CG, it's going to hurt it. So Wonder Woman's main villain was CG. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably my least favorite part of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah. We like to keep stuff spoiler free. We don't want to assume everybody's seen Wonder Woman, so we won't go too much into detail. But you know, it just bothers me. But
it was kind of like a
let's get a real villain that's not all CG, and learn from the Green Lantern movie.
Oh gosh,
too much CG is bad, and then. Let's just turn things around and go from there. We'll see where hopefully they take that. Their animated stuff, fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing there. Gotham by Gaslight, the Batman Samurai movie,
Batman Ninja. That was good. I liked it.
So their animation stuff's on point. It's been on point for years.
Plus, have you seen that trailer for Dark Knight Metal?
No.
We'll
check it out.
Really good.
But animated DC's on point. They just need to translate that to more live action on point movies. So hopefully Suicide Squad sequel's good and or great and all the everything else that comes with that. But lastly, Marvel. So what I want to see from Marvel, after everything we've talked about, I want to see them focus on perhaps some lesser known characters and build some really great stories around them. We both love what they've done with Captain America, what they've done with Iron Man. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they got the whole line with the Spider-Man reboot going. Keep that going, and let's see some more creative writing. Shed some more light on characters that aren't getting as much love as they should, but are very well done characters. I wouldn't mind seeing Spider-Gwen stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing, right. I wouldn't mind seeing them do something with Juggernaut. I wouldn't mind seeing some more X-Men action. There is a movie coming out that looks pretty dark around mutants. Yeah, so we'll see where they go with that. But of course, that's still owned by Fox. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what
if the merger happens. There's a lot of backtracking we'll have to do with this little section. But I just want more and more characters to be brought to light for all the fans. I think that's the biggest thing they can do from a fan service standpoint. There's a lot of characters that are, like Shatterstar. Get some. If you haven't seen Deadpool 2, Shatterstar was on the movie preview for Deadpool 2. That's one character that a lot of people don't even know who he is. And you get to see him in live action for the first time ever. So stuff like that just makes my heart warm, you know what I'm saying?
It makes you all bubbly inside.
Right. From there, we're gonna jump into one of these things I love to do every episode now going forward is throwing these topics at J.
No.
So one thing that I remember growing up that a lot of people are like, kind of makes me cringe a little bit thinking about this, but growing up. In school, we'll say more middle school, high school, if anything. How or what was your, I guess, thing that you did at lunch? Sitting down, choosing where to go sit. How was that in your high school? I can describe how it was in mine, but I don't think it.
My high school lunchroom, it was separated from seniors to, freshmen.
Freshmen to seniors.
Freshmen to juniors, they had to sit in one side of the lunchroom, and the seniors had their own lunchroom.
Okay. Interesting.
I think my first 2 years, well, let's put it this way. When I was a freshman, I did not know where I wanted to eat. And I knew a lot of the upperclassmen, and majority of them invited me over to, and they were seniors, so they invited me over to the senior lunchroom. So I had that privilege of sitting with them and everything else. So a lot of the...
Did you know them from something in particular?
I knew them from like middle school and everything else and growing up. They saw me like, hey, come on over here, let's come sit with us. Cool. It was pretty neat. So I knew what the feeling of sitting in this senior lunchroom that we had in high school was all about. But my sophomore year, I sat close to the back not in the senior lunchroom, but in the other lunchroom, back towards where none of the teachers or nobody else knew where we were at.
Where the bad kids were?
Well, I wouldn't say bad.
It sounds like that's where the bad kids
No, it wasn't really. It wasn't really bad because I was like...
I'm not saying you were one of them.
Nah. Because whenever I got lunch, I would always go to the pasta bar. We had a pasta bar. And I would
Bougie.
Yeah, you can put it that way. And I always got pasta with the marinara sauce, and they had the melted, like, kind of nacho cheese. Mm-hmm. And I put that on there, and I put... I always called it stinky feet cheese. That's how I got it from my dad. My dad called it stinky feet cheese. And I put it on there. That was about...
Parmesan?
Yeah, there you go, Parmesan. It was $1.75 for that pasta.
That's not horrible.
And I got it every time. Because I was like, oh, I don't like the food over here.
It's me, J-Bats. You turning Italian over here, dude.
And then after I ate my pasta, I always got the Otis Spunkmeyer sugar cookies. That costed me 50 cents for 3 cookies.
Wow.
A bag. So I always got 2 bags. One, so I can eat. The other one, I hate to say this, but to bargain with the security guard to get away from other things.
Okay.
Because whenever he catches me or catches one of my friends, we always had backup cookies because he loved the Otis Spunkmeyer sugar cookies. So
Can you give an example of like something you would try to get out of that a cookie would save the day? Like I wish life was that easy sometimes. It's the Otis Spunkmeyer cookie and you'll be good to go.
We were starting a paper war, so we had wads of paper and we had it in a like a lunchbox. Mm-hmm. And we'd always start paper wars when we're about to leave into our next classroom. And I remember that security guard had the highest pitched voice ever. Excuse me, sir, come here, come over here, come here. And he always had the 2 fingers to signal you over here, bow his head down and start signaling you. And he'll start talking to us. And I remember I tried to sweet talk it. I was like, excuse me, I didn't want to say this, but I have these cookies that I don't want.
Private.
I was wondering if you would like to have them. And majority of my other friends would try to play it off. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. You had those cookies, and we knew his favorites were the Otis Spunkmeyer sugar cookies.
Got him.
And lo and behold, 2 minutes later, I handed him the cookies, and he all he told us was to do was just pick up the papers and throw them in the trash.
And get away off of instead of getting suspended.
It's
pretty awesome. So, I'll go into my story real quick. So lunchrooms at my school were a little hectic. So I grew up in North Carolina, went to high school up there. Hashtag J. Cole country. And we had it based off what class, I guess what section of the school you were in. So if they had 4 sections, A, B, C, D. So if your classes were in section A, you went we'll call it first shift lunch, B, second shift, etc. And then mid-year, when we were on a 4x4, so you take 4 classes at the beginning of the year, and then halfway through the school year, you switch to another 4, so you can get 8 classes in one school year.
Oh wow! Now, I hate to go off subject, but for those classes, would you finish those classes in that one semester?
Yep.
So you won't have to take it the next semester. It's
right.
It's a one and done semester thing.
Right.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
So we do 4 the first half of the year, and then the second half of the year, you're taking another 4 that you needed for your, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. So if you passed everything by your second semester, senior year, you should literally need maybe an elective to where you can do like volunteering, helping in the front office, helping in special education, and maybe even go work a part-time job, because you would only have to go half a day your final part of your senior year if you passed everything. If you didn't pass everything, then you can use that last semester to, take a class that you maybe failed or something, because you would have technically room for 4 classes, but only need 1 elective.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? So you'd have room for 3 more classes if you struggled a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it was set up for you to succeed. It was a great system, and you only had to focus on 4 classes versus some schools that have you balancing like 6 classes or 7 throughout a year.
7 for me.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole entire year.
Yeah, so it was a great structure, and it worked really well. And hopefully, when our kids hit high school, they've thought it out, and they haven't implemented that in Alabama, where our kids probably most likely will be going to high school. They have something close to it, because I think it was great. Being able to have to juggle less and focus on more, I think goes a long way. But anyway, going back to lunch. So depending on what section of the building you were in, that's when your lunch would be. So sometimes that meant that you didn't really get to eat with your homies, because school lunch starts, and then they gave everybody like a 30, 40, or 45 minute window to go get it. So
45 minutes? I had 30 minutes, man.
Yeah, it's like 45-minute windows because of the way they did it, since they had so many people, because there was a lot of kids in this school, and for a whole section, one of the quadrants, whatever, to all be let out for lunch. Sometimes that meant, depending on what you did right when that lunch started, if you didn't go straight to get in line, if they gave you less than 45 minutes, you may not have enough time to get your food, sit down, eat it, and truly enjoy it. So 45 minutes seemed fine. It even gave you enough time to, like, if you needed to run to your locker to change some books out, so that way you're not having to carry all 4 classes worth of books. There's a lot of things you can do with if 30 minutes was enough.
Do you buy your lunch, or did you bring your lunch?
So we had a little hot bar similar to your little fancy pasta. But our little hot bar had things like slices of pizza from Papa John's.
Oh.
It had...
Are you saying I'm bougie?
Yeah. So slices of pizza from Papa John's.
Name brand stuff.
Right.
And mine's from the lunch lady.
It wasn't cheap, though. It wasn't like $1.50 like your fancy pasta was. It was like legit slice prices, like probably like $3 for a slice or something crazy. And then we had ices, so you can get a nice little like icy or snow cone, whatever. Mm-hmm. or slushies rather. I think they were slushies, yeah. And
slushies.
they had a couple different flavors of that, and then they had stuff like Otis Spunkmeyer, but like fresh baked cookies. I don't know if y'all's were fresh. Ours were fresh. They weren't no 50 cents. That's a hell of a good deal. Ours were like probably $1 for 2 cookies. I don't know what kind of deal y'all had. I don't know what kind of deal y'all had worked out with Otis, but he wasn't showing us no love.
We had a section where you can buy the snacks of like chips or the cookies, or there were pies there too.
Pies?
There were the small cylinder pies that you can buy there, and those were like $1. But some of the lunch ladies noticed me, and they're like, "Oh, I know what you want," so they give me 2 bags, and I'm like, "Okay, cool."
# Team Husky. I know what you want. Hey, sweetie.
Hey,
you got that pie for me, girl?
Hey, man,
you got that pie?
Whatever you.
I'm not hating, dude. You heard my story last episode.
That's
but
right,
I had my pies, my fair share, and those Papa John pizzas. but no, that was the little section, the little hot bars where all the cool kids went. Like, you were cool if you were getting food there. Then the regular lunch lines, they were getting a lot less love. It was like going back to the Hypebeasts, the bandwagons. That hot bar was for the Hypebeasts. You know what I'm saying? You had to spend more to get your stuff there, but if you were in that line, you were kind of the cool kid. That line, coincidentally, was right next to like the cool kids' tables. Basketball players, being that we were in North Carolina, so I grew up. Basketball's obviously huge. That's our most popular sport. Football is also big up there too, but not as big as it is here in Alabama, obviously.
Right.
Basketball is the main sport up there. And players like Vince Carter, Michael Jordan went to college up there and made started their brands. So that was the sport to play. So basketball players, they sat at those tables, cheerleaders, all that was next to the hot bar. So if you were down with the cool kids, when you're in the hot bar line, you can be shooting shit with your friends who are sitting at the table right next to that. So I had like my random little clique of friends, and we'd sit in some random section. But depending on the semester of school, I brought it up because it's like it was always one of those things for me. Like, man, who am I gonna sit with? And there would be times, I'm not gonna lie, that I didn't see any of my homies, so I ended up having to sit by myself. Super lame, especially in high school. It's like, who would I sit with? And none of my friends were in some of my classes. I was also in advanced math classes. So what that meant was, as a freshman, I'm taking a class that juniors and seniors are taking.
Oh, wow.
As a sophomore, I'm taking a class that's like all seniors. Same thing for science. I would take a science class like my sophomore year, and then I got juniors and seniors asking me questions. I'm just like, oh, this is cool. And at the same time, it's like, all these people are older than me. These people are working jobs, thinking about their college plan. And I'm just like, I'm a little freshman, sophomore. Hi.
I'm just a little dude.
It's like, do y'all play Pokemon? Like, no. What? I got kid, some stuff like that. Like, I don't know. So, it's just like, yeah, it's crazy. But all that going on. But just one of those interesting things. If y'all got any funny stories back from high school, middle school, that y'all want to share, definitely tweet us about it at NSX Podcast. I want to hear them. You got any funny high school pictures, middle school pictures you want to share with us? Follow us on Instagram, nostalgiax_podcast. I'd love to see them, give us some laughs. We might share a couple ourselves. Definitely would be fun. From there, I think it'd be cool we segue into, today, like some of the stuff we did today. So I did mention earlier, it was Auntie's 50th birthday, and we got together with family. We had this cake. I hadn't seen a cake like this before, where... Why are you laughing, man?
Because I know where this is going.
So my aunt's a little bougie, okay? And she doesn't know what that word means, but if my cousin...
it's a good thing she doesn't know.
If my cousin listens to this, he's probably going to be like, Mom, come here. DJ Doom talking about you. He calls you bougie. Bougie means this. So, anyway.
Don't be crawling to me and asking for help.
But she's a little bougie, so we got her a little bougie cake, with the ribbon, heels on the top, and fake jewelry on the top, and then we got her a little queen crown and all that, and we made it a little funny little thing, tongue-in-cheek joke, and she was cool with it. She was making a big deal of how she was gonna dress up, get her hair done. She had this was it creatine? Something procedure done to her hair to
straighten the curls out of her hair.
Yeah, dude, she had some minerals and vitamins infused into her hair just for today. It's not a one-day thing. It's gonna, stay in her hair for I don't know how long. But she had this special procedure done just to look extra fine for today. That's my auntie. She bougie.
She didn't even wear her heels outside to take pictures.
No,
she wore
yellow box sandals. Yeah, yellow box sandals. So a little bougie, but
she didn't want to get her heels all messed up.
Right. Everyone was outside having fun, like a little family reunion.
Sweating.
Yeah, we were out playing in the hot sun. We had the kids playing in the little jungle gym type thing, little tykes thing. We had basketball going. We had cornhole going. We had horseshoe throwing.
Yeah, your dad started putting up the post for the horseshoe, and I was like, "What is he doing?"
I was playing that, man. They've been playing that since they were young, and then they're good at it too. Ding, ding, you hear that? Ding, ding, because they hitting the hell out of that pole with the horseshoes. And we had a lot of fun. We got into some heated debates around playoffs and other things. And overall, just a lot of fun. It's great to, spend some time with family. Lucky for us, we have a lot of our families here. So we got to really have a great time. And, we're worn out from that. That was great, though. But from there, I wanted to ask you, J-Bad, and I can hit on it after you. But what is one of your favorite memories of your family from growing up? One of your favorite things that you like to remember?
Well, most of my family lives out in California. Mm-hmm. So the only time I do remember something is when I don't remember how old I was, but I do remember when we went out there for the Christmas holiday and actually meeting more of the family on my dad's side. I've already met majority of them on my mom's side.
Okay.
But on my dad's side, it's a big family, just like yours. Mm-hmm. And I remember, seeing my cousins, seeing my uncles, my aunts, even my grandfather and my grandmother, hanging out with them and actually remembering a lot of stuff. And I do remember some of my, I hate to mention this. My dad probably might kill me if I mention this, but anyway. I remember my uncle wanted me to stand with him while he plays poker. And they had the full-fledged poker table.
Were they legit gambling?
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't quarters, it was dollar bills on the middle of the table. And I remember I'm standing there with my uncle, and my uncle's like, "Hey, which card do you want me to?" And I was like, "I don't know how to play poker. I didn't know how to play poker back then." I was like, "I don't know." Okay, that card. And he'll do the opposite of it. And I was like, "Then why'd you ask me?" But it was
just trying to get you into
trying to get me into it and actually, having fun with them. That's and awesome. Being able to know them a little bit more, because I don't live over in California, obviously.
Right.
But, every time my dad has the opportunity to talk to my uncles or my aunts, or even my cousins, I want to take the opportunity to actually talk with them and have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
Because that's what family's all about, having great relationships,
Yeah, from there, I'm going to segue into mine. So one of my biggest memories I remember family related, I would say, and this is something I try to do, J-Bet as well, with our kids and our, immediate families, is take trips. So I remember the last time I took a trip as a family to Puerto Rico. My children haven't gotten to experience Puerto Rico yet. Obviously, fortunately, the hurricanes that hit last year, which I don't want to go down the sad road, but I do want to hit on the fact that the original numbers that were thrown out there by the Puerto Rican government of deaths is apparently super low compared to how many people actually passed. So I found that out a few days ago. I think I told you about it.
You did.
So we're still trying to find out what the truths around that are, but it's looking like there's been some real messed up, corrupt things going on with the government there in terms of what's true, what's not. And this isn't a political podcast, but I just wanted to bring that out there because the island's hurting right now. And, the least we can do is stay woke, as they say, and know the facts. And if you're Puerto Rican and you're listening, if you're not Puerto Rican and you're listening, just know that there's a lot more that we're going to be finding out over the next few months around how badly Puerto Rico was impacted by the hurricane. And, just keep our heads up. And we appreciate all the support in any way possible, kind words, things like that. If you know anyone that has family in Puerto Rico, just let them know that you're there for them if they need you, because it is a hard time. Just reading the article that more people, way more people, we're not talking like, hey, 10 more people actually confirmed killed by the hurricane or from complications of the hurricane. It's looking like hundreds of people when the original number was 2 digits, and they're saying that over possibly 4 digits worth of people, over 1,000, to simplify that for you. That's pretty messed up. Like how the hell does that happen? There's some really corrupt things going on there, and I was upset and saddened by it. But this is, like I said, this isn't a political podcast, so we won't. Well, I'll move forward. But growing up Puerto Rican, obviously, and in the States, we want to go back and visit our family. So we went on a trip. I think I was 13 years old, and actually no, I was 14. Not that 1 year made a difference, but I was 14 years old. I had recently, I talked about my husky story in the last podcast. I was not husky anymore. I got pretty slim. I've always played basketball, but I changed up my diet. I also went through a few issues where I became lactose intolerant after they ran some tests. Ultimately, that's what they found out. And I went from, like I mentioned on the first episode of the podcast, if you're a frequent listener, I was a cereal lover. I still am. So being that I ate cereal almost every morning with milk, being lactose intolerant is obviously going to cause you problems. So once I found that out, I switched to soy milk, which was still kind of new at the time. So I had to find something that I liked. But that led to me just watching what I ate, because I was having stomach problems, stomach pains. And then when they found that I was lactose intolerant, by that point, because I had changed my diet up, I lost a lot of weight. I lost probably about 25 to 30 pounds.
Wow.
And so I was slim. And anyone that knew me at the time, was like, man, everyone slimmed down. But I always was athletic. I played a lot of basketball. That was something I did almost on a daily basis. So you exercise regularly and you start eating better, you'll see a difference. It's that simple for anyone that's needing like that magic of how to lose weight. That's how it was for me back then. And anyways, suddenly this became a health and fitness podcast. But the reason I wanted to, mention that was because I think anyone that, especially minorities, but really for anybody, you have family is great, but they can also be very critical around certain things, and how you look and things like that are something that constantly gets tossed around. Like, oh, your hair looks great. Oh, your hair doesn't look great. Oh, you gained some weight. Oh, this, oh, that. Oh, what are you doing for work? Oh, you got your degree and you're not working yet. You know, it's always something that they're getting onto you. And yeah, I love family, but let's face it, that's the truth. So going to Puerto Rico, although this is one of my fondest memories, I was slimmer than they remember me. So some of them thought there was something wrong with me. So that was the crappy thing about the trip, but it wasn't them saying it to my face. It was more or less them just saying it to my parents. But that was the only bad thing about the trip. Other than that, everything was fantastic. I got to see family I hadn't seen in decades. I got to remember that story I told you about the man with the feast, like the banquet.
Oh, yeah.
I got to meet this guy. So if you ever have had a true Thanksgiving feast, you know, where you have multiple dishes, all the family, or maybe one person just went ham and made like 8+ different dishes. You got turkey and stuffing and this and that, different types of meats and stuff like that. So we know what that table setting can look like. Fantastic. The type of stuff you see in movies and family reunions. Well, this man had a meal like that prepared for himself. It was one of my dad's family friends. We went to, he wanted me to meet him since we were visiting Puerto Rico for the first time in a while. And I met him, and he has this table all set. And I'm like, wow, like, this is awesome. Something you see at, like, you would expect at, like, a king or something to have. And it was all for him. And I was just like, golly, you gonna eat all this, bro? Mm-hmm. So I'm like over here shaking his hand, and he's like, all right, nice meeting you, a.k.a. I need y'all to go because I'm about to feast. And I was just like, wow. So I still remember it to this day. But I also remember, and this is just goes to show you, I'm not trying to say like I'm Daddy Yankee, like the most famous Puerto Rican or something, because I by no means am. But when I go to Puerto Rico, it's almost like being a celebrity because I have so much family there that everyone's just like, hey, it's just awesome. So when we went with my dad, he's always been one of these guys that he mingles and he just knows everybody. Even though he hadn't been there in years, they still remembered him. So rolling with him, it's almost like rolling with a celebrity. Like, you just feel like you're a part of something bigger, something greater. So, funny story. We went to a nearby park in the city that both of my parents are coincidentally from. And it's Mariana. It's actually Mariana inside of Humacao, Puerto Rico. And me and my little brother, same brother that I talked about, I think I said it earlier in the podcast, we got in an argument or discussion.
A heated discussion.
Right. We went and we played basketball at this park. And we were living in North Carolina, so we played a lot of basketball. We came ready. So we played 2-on-2 against some kids that were coincidentally about our same age. Older one was about my age, younger one was about Edgar's age. And we go in and we're playing basketball. We're going in, it's like we're representing for Puerto Rico and North Carolina at the same time. We're laying it up, shooting in their face, dribbling all over and destroying them. Next thing you know, I think we played to like 15, and it was like 15-3 or something. We destroyed these guys. And we're high-fiving and, slap ass and stuff. And then next thing you know, we were talking shit through the game too, by the way. Next thing you know, my dad's like, hey, I just wanted you to know, this is so-and-so, and those two guys are your cousins. Me and Edgar look at each other, and we're like, cousins? Oh, man, what's up, guys? Like, we get all cool with them. We were just talking so much mess throughout the game, and we're like, these guys are trash, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not even in our league. And then we find out they're our cousins, so we're like, oh, crap, well, hey y'all want to play a little more, shoot around? We tried to be buddy with them after that, but it was just the funniest feeling ever. We just wanted to destroy them because we're like, oh, yeah, the Puerto Rican, we got to we got to show them that we're the real Puerto Rican ballers, you know, stupid stuff that kids think, you know,
Puerto Rican ballers.
And turns out they were family. They were like second cousins of ours. So it was just the funniest way to meet family. And these were just random kids that happened to be playing there, by the way. So like I said, it feels like you're a celebrity and that you're just related to everybody in some way, shape, or form. So it was awesome. Also, going to my grandpa's, who's coincidentally visiting right now. You saw him earlier.
Was he sitting on the couch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Old grumpy looking guy with the military haircut.
The flat top?
Flat top with the button up. That's my grandpa.
Doesn't give hugs, he gives handshakes.
Oh, yeah. And he loves baseball. He loves baseball so much, he tried to talk about basketball with me and referred to basketball players as peloteros, which is baseball players. But I knew what he meant. But anyway, I remember visiting him in Puerto Rico, and the coolest thing, and this is why I remember it, even though I wasn't husky anymore, I was still husky at heart, because I remember at the bottom of the hill my grandpa's house was at, there was a bakery cafe, and they had the greatest snacks and pastries. So going there, whenever we would go see him, it's like we can walk down that hill and go get some authentic island Caribbean types, you know, pastries. And they also did pressed sandwiches there, like panini press style. And you know how good those are, you know, when we have them locally.
Oh, yeah.
So it is just amazing stuff. So I definitely have fond memories of that. I definitely want to go visit, hopefully in the next few years, when I think my kids are a little travel ready, you know, and make that happen. But yeah, that's the biggest thing there that I remember and I love, and it was just fantastic. I had a great time at the island. The only time I can say in my life I've been sunburnt, when I went to a beach, Puerto Rico, and did not put enough sunblock on, or any. I don't know if I put any, because I was like, Puerto Rican, bro. I don't get sunburnt.
I got dark skin.
Right. I don't get sunburnt. What do I look like? Anyways, I got sunburnt on my back, shoulders. The sun hits very hard over there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So just be ready. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. Only sunburn I've ever had in my life. And now, I always know if the sun's hitting hard, I don't care. Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican at heart, but I'm putting some sunblock on because I never want to feel that again. Horrible. But yeah, guys, from there we're gonna cut it out here, and next week I'm not gonna give you any previews. You just listen. We're gonna throw some stuff on Facebook. We're gonna start promoting the episodes on Facebook. We're gonna throw some polls on there and different ideas that me and J-Bet have put together on what we may talk about on the next episodes. So we're gonna make this a very interactive podcast where you get to say in some of the stuff we're bringing to y'all, and I think that's gonna be awesome. I'm excited to see what y'all have, what y'all decide on.
And I'm gonna throw this out. If you give us a good subject for us to talk about, we'll put your name on that.
Yeah, we'll shout you out.
We'll shout you out. We're like, hey, credit to so and so. Appreciate it. We're gonna talk about it.
Absolutely.
Well, I know DJ Doom will probably love that.
We'll give you credit where credit's due.
Yeah,
we'll give you credit where credit's due. Absolutely. On that same subject. Support us, patreon.com/NSX podcast. I put a lot of work, J-Bet as well, into the page, and we got a lot of different support levels. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. We also have gear in the works, and certain support levels will get access to gear. We also have at our highest level, if I'm not mistaken, it's $50 support. You can get an autograph photo of us, as well as we do a shopping spree for you. We go and put a collector's box, us both being collectors. We get our Geek Fandom hats on, and just go on a little shopping spree exclusively for you. And that's something that's exclusive at that level. But definitely check us out. Patreon.com/NSX podcast. Like I said, donations starting at just $1, just to show us some love and support. Twitter @NSX podcast. I just tweeted recently. I think I'll mention this is pretty awesome. So Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's not awesome. It is freaking awesome.
Benedict Cumberbatch was in an Uber recently this past weekend and witnessed a bicycler, I think he was a delivery boy, getting mugged. They were going to steal his bike, probably rob his wallet, all this stuff. 4 to 5 guys, maybe even 6, but I would say 4 to 5, got out of his Uber and went to fight the guys. He went to save this guy, essentially. Was able to keep the guy from getting mugged. I don't know if he's trained in any martial arts or anything, but he went out there regardless of the fact. And knowing that he's one of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood right now, to where they could have tried to rob him too. Mm-hmm. And save the day for this guy.
Yep.
So shout out to Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm going to give him a round of applause because that's freaking amazing.
Thank you, Sherlock.
He doesn't have a Twitter. I tried to, shout him out on Twitter, and the best I can do is basically hashtag it. But it's gotten a lot of likes. Mm-hmm. Check out the post if you haven't. And definitely, like I said, follow us on Twitter @NSX Podcast, and Instagram is nostalgiax_podcast. We're active on both of those, and we'll follow you back if you, show us some love. So, but we're going to keep it going, guys. Appreciate you checking out the episode. If this is the first episode you listen to, we appreciate you spending this time with us, being on this nostalgic ride that we're bringing you. And, definitely come back. New episodes every Monday. New episodes every Monday. It's been a long day. But new episodes every Monday, and we love what we do. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. See y'all next week.
Peace.